It's the final 20 seconds of match time in the most important game you have ever played. The game is tied and the next goal will decide who advances to nationals. You are moving up the field for the final play of the match, and as you approach the goal, you can feel two defenders closing in on you. Suddenly, you hear your teammate's voice calling for the ball with no defenders marking them. Before the opponents reach you lies a window of opportunity. Do you pass to your teammate? Or do you take the shot without hesitation? In this situation lies the thesis of Blue Lock, a decision that separates those destined to become the best and those that lack the key piece of the puzzle, a strong, well-defined ego as well as the confidence to play selfishly and for your own goals. Now, compared to most sports manga, which are usually built on the philosophy of teamwork, Blue Lock instead declares that fierce individuality is key to becoming a world-class athlete. When we are introduced to Topio Kageyama in Haikyuu, he has a mindset that is very similar to many of Blue Lock's characters. The key difference is how this mindset is reacted to by the characters around him. Kageyama's ego is shown to be a detriment that limits his potential. He only learns to maximize his abilities when he opens his mind to teamwork and starts to have faith in those around him. This is the opposite of the way we see characters develop in Blue Lock, and a perfect example of that is Barrow. Initially, Barrow is very similar to Kageyama. He's the king of the field, and he's someone that refuses to understand his teammates' mindsets. But instead of treating that as a weakness, Blue Lock finds a way to make Barrow's playstyle extremely effective, even helping his team by creating an unpredictable playstyle that throws off their opponents. Throughout the series, Jinpachi Ego delivers a lot of speeches. Like, a lot. But I think one of the most important ones is towards the beginning of the series, when he speaks about the group-oriented mindset of Japan, and how it lends itself well to sports like baseball, where roles are clearly established and functioning as a team is key to winning. However, this cultural mindset is a detriment in football, where the skills of one individual can have a massive impact on the game, and the ego of a player is key to developing into an ace striker. So in today's video, I'm going to be exploring 3 characters that I believe embody the philosophy of the series, and we'll be talking about what they personally believe in, as well as what the author is trying to say through their experiences. The first character I've chosen to take a look at is Oliver Aiku, captain of the Japanese U20 team. Aiku started out like many of our protagonists, dreaming of becoming the best striker in the world. However, in a critical time in Aiku's development as a player, he was denied the opportunity to develop his individual skills as a striker, being told that he will have a great career by foregoing scoring opportunities to his teammates and playing for others. In this way, he is the product of the mindset that Blue Lock seeks to destroy. Eventually, Aiku becomes disillusioned with the sport, telling his coach that he has lost sight of why he started playing in the first place. He laments about how the potential for young players like him is intentionally limited, and how this has snuffed out the potential for them to rise above and join the best in the world. In the depths of this despair, however, Aiku finds a new reason to play, and changes focus to become the best defender in the world and to crush the weak strikers that Japan produces. Aiku, however, has not completely lost faith in the players of Japan, and promises that one day if a true striker appears, he will dedicate himself to cultivating that player's potential to help them rise to the world stage. Aiku's function in the story is to give a face to the countless players that have had their potential wasted by the Japanese soccer machine. However, not all strikers have their potential cut short by the mindset of Japan. Itoshi Sei's development as a striker was the opposite of Oliver Aiku. Growing up, Sei had always been the best player on the pitch, and he was allowed to flourish as a striker due to his gifted abilities as a player. With incredible football IQ and ball control, he quickly rose to the world stage, leaving Japan to join the Real Madrid youth squad at a young age. However, despite having all the tools to become an ace striker and dominating the field for his whole life, Sei came back to Japan 4 years later as a changed person. After witnessing the abilities of the rest of the world, he had given up his dream of becoming the best striker, instead choosing to become the best midfielder in the world, using his playmaking and passing abilities. Sei was crushed by the weight of professional football, and just like Aiku, was forced to abandon his dream, despite being given every opportunity to reach that goal. He believes that Japan is irrelevant on the world stage, and that no striker from his home country could possibly attain the spot of the best striker in the world. Sei's career thus far represents the challenge of what becoming the best in the world actually entails. By the time of the U20 match, Sei Itoshi is the only character who has actually experienced the football world outside of Japan. At the end of the second selection, the Blue Lockers played a match against the World 5, a team made up of Sei's peers in professional football, and they experienced just how far away their goals truly were. For the young and inexperienced players, this was inspiring as their goals finally felt tangible. Sei, however, was plunged into that world for 4 years straight, experiencing what it's like to play against the very best every day, and somewhere along the line his ego was crushed. In a flashback, we see Sei admonish his younger brother Rin, telling him that their shared dream of becoming the best strikers in the world will never happen. Sei shows us that natural talent is not enough to become the best in the world, and how even someone given all the necessary tools can fall short of their goals. Despite their differences, Aiku and Sei are very similar characters, scorned by the world around them and forced to abandon their dreams in order to find a place on the field. Aiku and Sei are two sides of the same coin. One had been robbed of his opportunity to become a striker, and the other was given everything he needed and more, and in the end, neither one could reach the top. There is one character in Blue Lock, however, that is shown to have what it takes to reach that peak that so many others fail to grasp. That character is Isagi Yoichi. It is made very clear to us that Isagi is a striker to his very core. He was the first person to respond to Ego's call and is willing to constantly change himself in order to evolve. Possessing genius football IQ and playmaking abilities, Isagi has been recognized by both his fellow players as well as the world as being the beating heart of Blue Lock. When we see Isagi sacrifice a scoring opportunity and pass to a teammate in the first chapter, it looks like his story may play out like that of Oliver Aiku. However, unlike Aiku, Isagi is presented with the opportunity to join the Blue Lock program. Isagi's most valuable skill is his ability to reconstruct his way of thinking about the game. Instead of being crushed by the weight of his opponent's superior skills in the moment, he adapts to their playstyle, adopts their weapons into his own arsenal, and ultimately surpasses them using those same tools. His mindset and playmaking abilities are noticed by everyone he plays with, including Oliver Aiku and even Sei Itoshi, who had repeatedly refused to acknowledge any of the Japanese players. Sei even remarks after that U20 game that Isagi will become the player to change Japanese football forever. The core philosophy of Blue Lock from the very beginning has been to break the limitations of Japanese football, and to be a place where the best striker in the world could be created. Isagi started the series as a relatively unimposing player, with average physical abilities and, to be honest, a limited amount of experience playing at a high level. Blue Lock gave Isagi that environment to gain the experience he needed, and to completely rewrite his understanding of the game from the ground up. There are many extremely gifted players in the Blue Lock program. Geniuses like Nagi Seshiro, Rin Itoshi, and Ryusei Shido all possess the abilities to become world-class strikers. These players, however, lack a key piece of the puzzle that will stop them from becoming the best in the world. Throughout the series, Ego has remarked that genius levels of talent are not the key tools needed to rise to the very top. In order to become the best, a player needs to be able to break through their limits endlessly, and constantly improve their playstyle to overcome the challenges in their way. Nobody is born with a talent to become the best. Players like Nagi Seshiro have the ability to make extraordinary things happen, but he and many others in the program are limited by this genius, and will never be able to break through the limits of their potential the way they are now. The player who has overcome every challenge thrown his way, who has been able to adapt and control the field no matter how many genius level players are present, has been Yoichi Isagi. He has proven time and again that there is no limit to how far he can go, and that there is no one he is not able to devour and overcome. In this way, Isagi represents the core heart of Blue Lock's philosophy, taking pieces from every player on the field and adding it to his arsenal to get one step closer to becoming the best striker in the world. This is the purpose of Blue Lock, to cultivate a talent who can devour the very best, and Isagi has demonstrated that he is capable of doing that in the Neo Egoist League. Isagi has shown both that he has the innate talent needed to become a world-class player like Sei Itoshi, as well as the proper cultivation in order to reach that goal, unlike players who have had those dreams crushed like Oliver Aiku. Since winning the U20 match against the Japanese national team, Isagi has been immersed in the global stage, playing against the best U20 clubs in the world. He has been playing amongst the best players the sport has to offer, and has shown that he is capable of adapting to their level of play. Isagi denying a goal from Chris Prince and playing alongside the best player in the world, Noel Noah, has shown that he is not only able to keep up with these players, but he's able to devour them and intends to surpass them eventually. The fact that he's able to do this at such a young age shows that his peak abilities as a player are yet to be shown. The Blue Lock program will succeed, and Yoichi Isagi will become the best striker in the world. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in and checking out my video. Blue Lock captured my attention when the anime started coming out, and it is really fun to read along and ultimately make a video about it. This is my first time making a video like this, and would love to hear any suggestions you guys have for future videos. I enjoy Blue Lock, but I also watch a bunch of other stuff, so if you're interested in what I have to say in the future, please leave a comment and subscribe so you guys can see when I release new videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.